Northeast Toyota Insider. I'm Jeff Bible alongside head coach Darren Schoenrock. And Coach, come off a pretty good week last week because you win your conference series. And last week, that was pretty big. We'll start off going back to a midweek game against Belmont. I know a tough 3-1 loss. That was after you had been on the road for a little bit, and you could tell both you and Belmont a little fatigued in that midweek game.
Yeah, neither team really was very dynamic offensively. We had a hard time stringing together good at bats. They did too. Both teams pitched it okay, and then they got the one big swing off and barreled up one ball. Basically, I think they may have hit 3 balls hard the whole game, and you see that occasionally midweek, it's. But I don't think it was from the standpoint of our guys just overlooking anybody. You overlook Belmont. Now this team doesn't overlook anybody.
Right.
They play every day. They show up every day. It was a tough day to generate offensive energy.
Coach, over the weekend, you play South Florida at home. They were in first place. Had to bump the series up, something this team's pretty used to by now, so you didn't really have to worry about moving the series around because of the threat of rain. Got the doubleheader in Friday, lost game 1, but you came back at a nice pitching performance by Dylan Toscano to even that series up.
Dylan has been a good game 2 guy, and the game 2 is so critical in creating momentum or sustaining momentum, and pitching after a win or pitching after a loss. The mindset of the roles are very different. Dylan's able to handle both. We haven't had a chance to see Dylan in a pitching after a win yet,
yeah.
And because we're facing some very, very good Friday night pitchers in this league. Jimmy Herget's going to be 2nd to 3rd round pick. Talked to some scouts last night. Pitched on Team USA. Just what he did to us is about what he's done to every team he's pitched against this year.
Came back on Saturday. You won the series. You won it 6-4. That's a good series win. You were able to gain a game overall in the standings on USF.
Yeah, USF's solid. I think they're a lot like the teams we've seen so far, Jeff. Everybody seems to have a good Friday, Saturday guy. Maybe not quite as good as the conference pitching I saw here in 2013. We had 14 guys drafted in the league that year. Similar. The position player teams maybe are not as dynamic swinging the bat, but they're very, very athletic. What we're seeing now is a lot of teams that can really run mainly home to first. So a lot of good athletes in the league, and everybody's got at least 2 guys on the weekend that can pitch anywhere in the country. So that's why you see the league records like they are in our conference, and it's why it's the 3rd RPI conference in the country now.
3rd week in a row you get hitter of the week. Chris Carrier, kind of under the radar. We knew you had a solid week last week, but just shows the consistency he's had over the year.
Phenomenal worker, has turned himself into a very good college hitter. And the more at bats that Chris gets, the better and better he gets, so excited with him going through that for a second time now.
On Wednesday, you're going to go down to Oxford to face Ole Miss. Face them once this year at AutoZone Park. They got the win. Alex Gunn will get the ball down at Oxford.
That game was a little different. We gave up 2 big innings in that game, 2 3-run innings, and this team hasn't done that real often this year. So that was kind of an aberration. We've been really good at handling the routine, and to generate 2 3-run innings. A couple things have to happen. One, you have to mislocate or not throw strikes. In that case, Alex was throwing strikes, mislocated some pitches ahead in the count, gave up some hits in advantage counts, which is not really typical of him. So I think if he can be his guy and negate the big inning, I think we have we'll play him toe to toe. So trying to avoid those big innings is what he's been really good at this year in all of his starts, and in that case he wasn't. And credit Ole Miss, they were finding ways. They're playing a lot better now. They've won some series against some very good people since they won a series at Vanderbilt, won a series I think at Auburn. They're playing at a little higher clip than we were the first time, and we got to go to their place, so the road will be challenging.
Another place where it'll be a challenge will be up at Connecticut this weekend. Interesting as you look at the conference schedule and the standings right now. This weekend, numbers 1 through 4 all play each other, and then 5 through 8 play each other. Doesn't mean there's going to be any separation really in the league, but there potentially could be a little separation. UConn's a little bit different. No lights at Connecticut's kind of like the Wrigley Field, I guess, of the American. You'll be playing all-day games. But with all the schedule changes you've had this year, I don't think that's something that'll bother the team to play 3-day games.
I wouldn't expect so. I mean, this team's handled that pretty good. I think, the travel, the fatigue, playing 2 midweek games and then going on the road is a factor. But it's the same opportunity. I told our team at our Sunday meeting, it's the same opportunity. UConn has the same opportunity versus us that we had against South Florida. The team that's one spot ahead of you coming to your place, and that's what UConn has. They have the team that's one spot ahead of them coming to their place this weekend, so a chance to make up ground. You saw what we did to South Florida, and I'm sure UConn would like to do that to us. But I think the closer we get to the end of this thing, to the decision time, for conference seeding and all that, the more this team understands the value of every out, every pitch, every inning, and that's why they're attacking it.
This UConn team, very tough, looking at some of the numbers today, averaging about 6.5 runs a ball game. And it's a team that's really built their RPI into the 30s because early in the year they don't get a lot of home opportunities. I still believe they've only played 7 or 8 home games. So they've been on the road a lot. They've been able to build that RPI, and now they'll have to kind of defend their home turf down the stretch because they're kind of in the same boat as you and a couple other teams. There's probably 2 spots in the NCAA that are maybe kind of locked down right now, and there's 3 or 4 teams battling for maybe 1, 2, potentially 3 more NCAA spots.
Yeah, you look around and the league doesn't get the respect it's due, but a lot of talking heads and national media with number of regional participants based on where the RPIs in the league are. It's going to be up to that committee to see how much value do they put on certain components of selection. If the league RPI holds where it is in number 3 behind the SEC, the ACC. Right now we're ahead of the Big 12, we're ahead of the Pac-12, we're ahead of the Big 10. Then I think you'll see the respect given to the league that it's due. We are going to kind of beat each other up a little bit down the stretch, but I think the tournament then will continue to elevate RPIs. Once we all get back together in Clearwater and go through that week-long tournament, I think you'll see things inching up. So when you play good people, win or lose, you're going to be rewarded. UConn's been rewarded because they played so many on the road, but the interesting thing about them is they are very offensive, but they also have 2 guys on the mound that we had one guy that missed the entire year last year with injury that they expect to have a big year, and he is. And then their Saturday guy is a lefty that's kind of cut from the same cloth as a Sam Maul was. So very dynamic 2 weekend pitchers. We'll have to be sharp and we'll have to be on top of our game on the mound too. But our guys have been fine. They've prepared very well and look forward to the challenge.
Sounds good. We'll see you in stores.
Thanks, Jeff.
That is head coach Darren Schoenrock. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolf Chase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.